PMS got my ass again. And I'm sure it's PMS and postpartum connected that, like, this week before my menstrual cycle, my moods are... As a woman, I am much more likely to fall into a negative mindset this week over other weeks. And not just, like, negative mindset, but it's as if there is a part of my brain, a part of my being, that, if it gets stuck in this groove, and it's like, we all have these grooves, right? It's like neuroticism. These patterns of thoughts that lead to patterns of behavior that we've picked up over the years. And, my moon is in Virgo. And it's so fucking critical. I have my inner critic is so loud, which, sucks for me. And unfortunately, when I am especially unaware, I take it out on other people. Like that inner critic, it gets deflected and I'm criticizing others. And so, I know part of this leadership journey is self-realization, personal development, and that's what it looks like for me, y'all. My inner critic becomes just a fucking critic. And she was sabotaging my shit this morning. But she always does. I'm sick and tired of my shit, man. I'm sick and tired of my shit. And I know I'm not the only one that goes through this. And everybody's got a different thing. Today my ego got in the way. When I get stuck in this mindset, or it's a state of consciousness. And, for me, it is a feeling of immense helplessness, desperation, physical pain, and isolation. That is self-imposed, but it's like a prison that I made, and that only I can step out of. And when I'm in it, it's as if, it's like normally I'm walking around and there's this manifold of possibility. And I was like, manifold? What the hell is a manifold? A holographic existence where you can see the different threads of what could be. And I know that media has given us some visual examples of what that might look like. If you ever watch, I think it's Interstellar. And at the end of Interstellar, when he's sort of in this multi-dimensional space and there's all that quantum entanglement play where he can shake a book and that information will fall and his daughter receives it, kind of a deal. It's like that manifold is always there. But whenever I'm in this state of consciousness, it's just like super neurotic helplessness. I can't find the way out. And, it's a real space, man. There is a type of calculus called topology that works with mapping, like, the geometries of different dimensions. And there's an author, a psychologist, Kurt Lewin, I think, who wrote about a topology of psychology. And I'm sure if you remember any amount of geography, or like even, those maps, the topographical maps, where it's like you can touch it and the map is raised based on the relative elevation of that geography, or even without the nice physical, the thing you can touch kind of map or model. They also have those maps where it's just the rings, if they're closer together, if the elevation is more steep, then they're further apart, it's more, the slope isn't nearly as intense. And the thing about that, like if you could map the topology of your psychology, of your psyche, of your mind, okay, there is a literal space that I fall into. And I was listening to Myron Golden yesterday. I've been listening to a lot of him. I have a couple different teachers right now that I'm really leaning in on. Byron Katie, Myron Golden, Carolyn Miss. And he was saying that the thing that you're seeking is also looking for you. So why hasn't it found you yet? And if God is everywhere all the time, I don't understand why in those moments of intense pain and separation, and it's I just don't understand how it's so, why I don't choose to step out of it. Why I stay so committed to the delusion. Like, I'm just gonna fight my point to the death, when all I'm fighting is fighting for fighting's sake. Criticism for criticism's sake. The spreading of pain because I'm hurting. For the sake of pain. I don't know why I do it. Myron Golden was also saying that most entrepreneurs don't have nearly enough empathy. And that's why you can't make money. Because you're doing it for the commission and not the mission. And yeah, that is on my journey. I've had to been like, yeah, I'm inconsiderate. I move, and he was saying there's a difference between selfishness and self-interest, but it's like, I don't exactly have a track record of being the most considerate person or the most empathetic, compassionate person. That's something that I have to work on, and not even just as a leader or a business owner, but as a mother and a wife. I'm sick of myself. And remember how I was saying that because I have an inner critic, that becomes my outer critic? Well, I don't even think that being sick and tired of myself is very helpful, because doesn't that mean I'm just going to be sick and tired of other people? Why aren't they changing? Why are they still set in their ways? Why are they stuck on that mental groove and inaccessible to me right now? Why can't they hear me? Why can't they see things for what they are? It's like I'm just stuck in that groove now. So the solution is supposed to be compassion. Compassion on myself first. Oh, and that, y'all, I struggle with that. I bet you do too. I know people say like recording yourself crying is dramatic and attention seeking, but I genuinely am like, Myron Golden yesterday said that there are people out here can relate to me more because I'm me. Because I'm a real person and I'm not this famous and accessible person right now. And so it's like, part of this entrepreneurial journey is this battle right here, what you're witnessing, the thinking through, the self-reflection, the metacognition. Going into the depths and coming back out for air is what is seeking me. Is what I'm seeking. Why hasn't it found me? It probably has found me. It has to be the solution. But it's right here. Ugh. Carolyn Miss talks about the ego as being necessary. That the ego is necessary because, and this applies for entrepreneurs, for what any of us are doing, is that like when you start to work on yourself, you start to change. And so all of your community, and like And in the way that if your environment is a reflection of your inner world, when your inner world starts to change, it's going to take a second for your environment to catch up, and your environment is going to be like, hold up. If you change, you're going to leave us. And in your inner world, there are pieces of you that have to die, and in me, they don't want to die. If they hold on for dear life and they sabotage my shit. And Carolyn says the ego is necessary because you have to have some strength, like some callousness. You have to have the person in order to persevere and keep doing this thing that's going to go against the grain. You have to be able to say, no, I'm doing this for me, in the sense that my spirit tells me to go, and so I have to go even though the people around me don't want me to change. I have to change. But then the ego has to have another stage of development again. And I think that's kind of what's happening with me. And y'all, it is not comfortable. It's not comfortable. But I don't want the other alternative. I don't want to remain the way that I've been. And when you're on this path, you genuinely do have to want to change. So that's where I'm at right now. And I'm proud of myself because I've seen this pattern in my personal life before, and any of my exes will tell you. And I got that in spades. My husband is too kind. My husband thinks it'll ruin our reputation as a couple if he is honest about my behavioral patterns. And I'll leave it vague on purpose, but it's like, I'm sure you in your own life have cycles of fights or whatever. Conflict and repair. That's what relationships are. And this morning was not as bad as it's been. I improve everywhere, across the board. Small improvements. My husband told me that I have changed more we've not even known each other for a year yet. In the brief time we've known each other than any woman he's ever met with. Any woman he's ever met or been with. I know I've made great strides, but the work is never done. And that's kind of the story of the day. And I don't even know if I'll post this. But I love you all, and I'm learning to love myself.